Are you serious right now? I mean, imagine coming home after weeks away thinking you're about to step into your peaceful lakeside cabin only to find a total stranger sitting at your kitchen table telling you you can't come inside. That's exactly how this wild mess started. There's this woman looks at me all calm and casual, says she's inspecting the place for the HOA, acting like she owns the joint. Next thing I know, my HOA president, Brenda Walsh, shows up, whips out her phone, and actually calls the cops on me, the real owner. Officer, this dangerous man is harassing our authorized house sitter. She tells them like I'm some lunatic off the street. I swear that's when you know you've entered the HOA twilight zone. And before you judge, let me just ask, have you ever been made to feel like the bad guy in your own house? Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. I'm Marcus Reed, 38 software developer, and for the last 8 years, I've done my best work right here in this lakeside cabin I inherited from my grandma. It's my little slice of peace up north in Michigan, a home office with a view, a place nobody bothers me, or so I thought. After 3 weeks away at a tech conference in Portland, I was genuinely looking forward to surprising my neighbors by coming home early, maybe unwinding on the porch, soaking up the lake air. But apparently, I was the one in for a surprise. Before I even made it to my front steps, things felt off. My elderly neighbor, always so cheerful, saw me walking up. Her face went dead white like she'd seen a ghost. She dropped her coffee mug right there, shattering it on her driveway. Marcus, Brenda said you weren't coming back, she shouts. And then she bolts inside. I'm standing there feeling like I just stepped into someone else's life. But then the mailman stops his truck, eyes me up, and says, "Hey, Marcus, thought you'd moved out for good. That lady's been getting your mail forwarded here for weeks." What lady? What forwarded mail? I live here. And then across the street, my other neighbor snapping pictures of me and whispering into her phone, "Victoria's gonna freak out." Who the heck is Victoria? I start feeling like the whole neighborhood's in on some joke I'm not getting. But the real shocker is my mailbox, stuffed with 3 weeks of official-looking notices. Final warning, property violation, property lien, filing for unpaid fees, plus $7,000. For what? For going to work, I'm shaking, reading that I've got 30 days to address violations or face mandatory sale proceedings. The kicker. The locks on my cabin are changed. Through the window, I spot some woman on the phone shuffling paperwork on my table, clipboard in hand, acting like she owns the place. So I knock on my own door and she answers like she's been expecting me. "Oh, you must be Marcus. Brenda said you might come back." She introduces herself as Victoria, starts waving these official-looking documents at me. I'm documenting property conditions for HOA compliance. Brenda said the property was abandoned. Abandoned? I was gone 3 weeks for work. But Victoria's already calling Brenda, and let me tell you, in less than 12 minutes, Brenda's marching up my driveway, acting like she's the sheriff. She calls 911 not to report the squatter in my house, but to report me for harassing her compliance documentation officer. I'm literally standing there watching this circus unfold, feeling like reality slipped off its rails. The cops show up and I think, okay, finally some sense will prevail. I hand them my ID, my house deed, even my work receipts. But Brenda and Victoria have an armful of HOA paperwork, violation notices, property abandonment assessments, some totally bogus community standards report. The officer is professional, but even he can't tell which end is up. Victoria's got photos of overgrown grass, peeling paint, a so-called temporary residence permit signed by Brenda herself. According to Brenda's newly invented policy, if you don't file a travel itinerary with the HOA, your property's considered abandoned. Can you believe that go on a business trip, lose your house? The cop says it's a civil matter that I need to sort it out with the HOA, but until then, Victoria gets to finish her assessment and I need to address the violations or else. He even recommends I get a lawyer. So now I'm sleeping in my own bed, listening to a stranger move around in the guest room while trying to wrap my head around how I'm supposedly the intruder in my own home. Here's where it gets really nuts. My neighbor pulls me aside after the police leave and whispers, "Brenda told everyone you'd moved away for good," she said. "The HOA had to step in to protect property values." That's when it hits me. This isn't a screw-up, it's a setup. Brenda's been priming the neighborhood, setting the stage for Victoria to move in, telling everyone I abandoned the place. And then, out of nowhere, Victoria's ex-husband shows up all awkward. He tells me Brenda offered Victoria free housing in exchange for documentation work, promised her $1,000, maybe more, if she played along. Victoria thought she was doing legit HOA business. Turns out she's just another pawn. That night I start digging through the HOA's portal. And what do I find? New policies about property abandonment, new fee structures, all signed off by Brenda, giving herself authority to slap anyone with violations, appoint compliance officers like Victoria, and buy up abandoned homes cheap. It's a racket. She's engineering a way to steal homes from right under her neighbors' noses. The next morning, my retired attorney neighbor confirms my worst fears. Brenda's been rewriting rules for months, targeting specific properties for personal gain. This isn't about community standards. It's about Brenda wanting my lakefront cabin for herself. Now here's the twist. I get a late-night call from Victoria, her voice shaking. She says Brenda's been lying to both of us. "I found something in her office. Meet me tonight. Bring your lawyer." We meet at a diner and Victoria's got a folder stuffed with photos, files on 12 different properties with owner travel schedules, rental projections, pre-written violation notices. Brenda's been targeting frequent travelers, doctors, pilots, people gone for work, faking violations and buying up homes cheap for her secret vacation rental business. Even worse, Victoria has recordings of Brenda coaching her how to manufacture violation evidence, how to make normal wear and tear look like neglect, how to maximize fees and speed up foreclosures. She even threatened Victoria, promising to use her connections at child services if she didn't cooperate. Total cold-blooded manipulation. My attorney helps organize an emergency HOA meeting, and Victoria, to her credit, agrees to testify, even brings her teenage daughter for support. That meeting is electric, neighbors shouting, demanding answers, gasping at the evidence. Brenda doubles down, playing the victim, claiming she's protecting the community from negligent owners, but it's too late. The board votes her out on the spot, the cops are called, and Brenda's arrested for fraud and attempted theft. But right as they're leading her away, Brenda turns and hisses, "You have no idea what you've just unleashed. Check the 2019 HOA records." And that's when things get deeper. Turns out Brenda had run the same scam before an elderly neighbor got forced out while in the hospital, sold his cabin cheap under threat of foreclosure. His family had tried for years to prove fraud, but never had evidence until now. The criminal and civil cases spiral. Brenda's facing years for fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy. Victoria, for her cooperation, gets a reduced sentence and throws herself into community service, even landing a job helping other fraud victims. Our HOA transforms transparency rules, community votes, legal oversight, emergency assistance funds. People come together in ways we never saw before. Neighbors, not just neighbors, but friends looking out for each other. As for Brenda, she goes to trial, gets convicted on every charge, loses her house, her career, everything she tried to steal. Our property values actually go up, and our little community becomes a model for reform across the state. And yet the story doesn't end there. I get a letter. Turns out Brenda was just one piece of a bigger network with appraisers, clerks, and lawyers running the same scams in other towns. Suddenly, we're working with prosecutors, helping other families recover homes, training law enforcement to spot property fraud. It's exhausting, but every win feels like justice for the old man Brenda scammed, for Victoria's daughter, for anyone who ever felt powerless in their own home. I end up marrying the therapist who helped our victims heal. Victoria goes on to lead a statewide elder protection group. Emma, her daughter, gets a scholarship to study law. She says she wants to fight people like Brenda for a living. Our cabin, My cabin becomes a hub for property protection, a symbol of what community can accomplish when they stand up to bullies, no matter how official their badge looks. You know, sometimes the wildest crisis can turn into your life's work. 3 years ago, I was fighting to get my home back. Now I'm helping dozens of communities fight off their own Brendas. And every time I see the sun set over the lake, hear neighbors laughing, or watch Emma studying on the porch, I know we didn't just save a house, we built something stronger. But hey, let me ask you if you'd found that letter warning. There were more people out there just like Brenda would. You have chased it down or just tried to move on. Drop your thoughts below, because I promise you, what's right or wrong in these HOA wars isn't always black and white. If you've ever faced something like this, or just want to see what happens when a community fights back, stick around for the next story, because around here things never stay quiet for long.